Stop buying coffee for $5.50. You go to work, you spend $15 on a sandwich. What are you, an idiot? It costs you 99 cents to make a sandwich at home and bring it with you. You start to add that up every day, it's a ton of money. Most people, particularly working in metropolitan cities that are just starting out on their job, making their first $60,000, away about $15,000 a year on.
As a general piece of advice, if someone with a net worth of upwards of, $400 million is shaming you for enjoying the small, simple pleasures that life offers us, 99.9% of the time, they're trying to distract you from the real reasons why your life sucks. Namely, people like blowhard Canadian Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary and other ultra-wealthy capital owners exploit the system to enrich themselves and maintain their status and power in society, regardless of how that attitude affects everyone else.
I love this. What's happened here is the system self-corrected. When you try and break the American model, it fixes itself. And I think people should give credit within the Democratic Party. Donald Trump saved them tonight, too, because they're going to have to take a spatula to these policies and bring it back to the center over the next 4 years. When it gets too crazy, it fixes itself. And whether you love Trump or you hate him, every Democrat owes him a thank you very much, Mr. President.
With Trump's imminent return to power, O'Leary has dipped into our politics more than ever before, licking Trump's boots clean whenever he possibly can, positioning himself as a staunch ally to the incoming administration, and most importantly, working tirelessly to protect the financial interests of himself and the top 1%. And hey, just a quick break in the action. You should go subscribe to my new show, The Rick Strom Show. I'm going to be interviewing people from sports, music, journalists, authors, sports doctors. It's going to be fantastic. Please go subscribe. Thank you.
But the regulatory environment in the previous administration was punitive, downright punitive. And, pursuing our big tech companies and trying to break them up and sell off their assets is not the right way to go, because technology's proved itself over and over again that really it's innovation, not regulation, that changes the market so quickly. I would really like to change management in the regulatory agencies to a more open, I want to use that word, because really, I love the way the market works and self-corrects itself. I'm a market-driven guy. Everybody knows that. But I hate a single individual deciding what is right and wrong for a market. That in itself is un-American. And that's what I think the market senses in the Trump administration.
Echoing an eerily similar sentiment as Mark Zuckerberg about regulating tech companies and breaking up the monopolies they've cultivated, what O'Leary is really arguing for is stripping as much power as possible from our regulatory departments, gutting them and eventually rendering them useless and ineffective so Congress can eliminate them later down the line. That's what's really at play here, not preserving the American way, like what O'Leary wants you to believe.
Of all those people, and we're going to get a different tonality to M&A, and it'll be a good thing for everybody.
Mandatory spending is Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. It's about 60% of the annual budget. I've yet to see the politicians who have the stones to solve it. That going to change?
This is his to do. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him. And he's basically said he would tackle this. So let's see him do it. And I'm in the camp that says lower corporate taxes generate more tax revenue, because I've seen that also. So there is a way to keep the tax cuts that Trump put in place years ago intact.
Like I stated in the beginning, O'Leary has an approximate net worth of $400 million, and he's arguing to cut Medicare, cut Medicaid, cut Social Security, and other mandatory spending programs, while simultaneously calling for corporate taxes to be slashed even further to chip away at the national debt. Because who cares about providing crucial life-saving services to millions of Americans when you can divert even more taxpayer dollars from the public to a small group of private citizens? Some of whom, like O'Leary, aren't even American citizens. So when you see O'Leary making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago to kiss Trump's behind along with the ultra-conservative Premier of Alberta, Canada, Danielle Smith, while simultaneously boosting his very fragile ego by making the absurd claim that Trump shot a 68 during their round of golf, just know that this is exactly what corruption looks like. But that's sadly how things work in this country. The highest bidders will always have seats at the table when it comes to decisions that directly affect our lives. And Kevin O'Leary is at the heart of two consequential outcomes from the Trump administration, though one is much more serious and sinister than the other.
We are a buyer. We've got a valid syndicate. We're prepared to put up as much as $20 billion. And we don't need the algorithm. We don't want the algorithm, obviously, because the order of Congress is forcing them to shut down because of the algorithm. It's Chinese spyware. Pretty well everybody knows that now. And it's not really an issue around free speech, because if they sell it, we'll keep it lit up, and we want to. And certainly for me, the majority of my companies, up to 60% of their digital spend each week is on TikTok. It's a very effective platform. And I want to make sure, as an advocate for American entrepreneurship, that we keep it lit up.
O'Leary is teaming up with billionaire Frank McCourt to buy TikTok before the Supreme Court gives the final decision to ban the platform or not, even admitting that a major factor in his decision to join the bid and his financial interest in the platform staying operational.
You know, the amazing thing about Mar-a-Lago, somebody asked me this week, why aren't you booking your travel to Davos? And I said, I don't need to. Davos has moved to Mar-a-Lago. I can meet everybody I want in Mar-a-Lago. It is the new Davos. I met the Prime Minister of Italy was there when I was there. This place is the center of the universe if you want to get stuff done, like a TikTok deal.
That last sentence should terrify all of us.
But I don't want it shut down. It's not good for my businesses. It's not good for 6 million other small businesses in America that make a living off it. We just need to take out the onerous piece, the spyware. It's what we want to do to save the platform for Americans. I think it's the right thing to do, and the company should want that too. This is the only path I see forward, and so let's see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can manage to save TikTok and keep relations between the United States and Canada, you're going to be one of the most important people in the world. We're going to have to give you a new nickname. It's not Mr. Wonderful. It's going to have to be something else.
Let's tell it like it is. O'Leary and the investment group trying to buy TikTok's U.S. operations are really trying to gain the power to control what is being shown on the platform. And the profits said content generates. Your data is no safer in the hands of the American government and American corporations than the Chinese government and Chinese corporations. So all this comes down to trying to weaken influence and financial power the current owners hold so far. We hope SCOTUS shuts down the push to ban the platform, because things will only get worse if we hand the keys over to a greedy Trump stooge like Kevin frickin' O'Leary.
Well, I'm going to buy, and I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets, and number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this, and I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot, and he's a great patriot.
The billionaire ruling class is just rubbing it in our faces now. Elon convincing Trump to do this stunt to save his cratering stock price is the literal definition of government corruption. But the MAGA base will eat this up and convince themselves that there's nothing to see here.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
President Trump buying a new car, while there are some folks who will see this clip at home and they are struggling with their retirement accounts down at the moment, uncertainty about work ahead.
Well, I think they're going to do great. I think our country had to do this. We had to go and do this. They've taken away, other countries have taken away our business. They've taken away our jobs.
Peter Doocy must have stock in Tesla that gave him enough courage to ask a question like this directly to dear leader Trump, because if there's one thing the right wing unequivocally cares about, it's money. Now, on the surface, Trump's Tesla sales pitch on the White House grounds, complete with notes about pricing and sales points as captured by Getty photographer Andrew Harnick, may seem like an unpaid favor to Musk to convince the MAGA base to soften on Tesla and electric cars in general. But as you know, with Trump, everything he does has a price, one way or the other.
Elon Musk has signaled to Trump's advisors that he wants to direct $100 million into Trump-controlled political entities. This would be something very different. It would be giving it to entities that are controlled by the Trump team, and it would be a different kind of approach.
Though not explicitly stated that Musk's massive donation was in exchange for Trump's Tesla infomercial, we can all read between the lines and speculate how this backdoor deal played out to keep Elon happy as his net worth continues taking losses and he continues sparring with cabinet members. Someone in Trump's orbit, or Donald himself, set the price to keep Elon in line and in dear leader's good graces. If you have a different theory, we'd love to hear it in the comments below. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
There could be another group that pops up, but it would be something that was not his own entity. It would be Trump affiliated. And that is the distinction, because it's just a more direct impact of the cash.
While this brazen corruption and conflicts of interest are happening right in front of our eyes, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, a reported billionaire, is telling the public to shut up and just keep generating as much profit as possible.
What is really being accomplished with all of these 1 or 2 day tariffs that end up getting yanked?
Well, when you're negotiating with someone and they're not paying attention and they're disagreeing, the president, who's the best deal maker ever to sit in that chair, is going to say, here's my response. And then all of a sudden, shockingly, they respond.
And yet the prospect of an aggressive trade war has prompted both J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs to bump up the risk of a recession this year.
Will these policies be worth it if they lead to a recession, even a short-term recession?
These policies are the most important thing America has ever had.
So it is worth it.
It is worth it. I don't think the only reason there could possibly be a recession is because of the Biden nonsense that we had to live with. These policies produce revenues.
So you're saying when it looks chaotic and unpredictable from the outside, that there actually is a master plan when it comes to these tariffs?
It is not chaotic. And the only one who thinks it's chaotic is someone who's being silly.
It may not be chaotic for the billionaire ruling class who won't feel the economic strain, but for the tens of millions of Americans whose retirement funds are attached to the stock market and need to stay employed to survive, this chaos could literally mean life or death. But again, that would never cross his, Donald Trump's, Elon's, or any other member of the ruling class's mind.
When you have a president get inaugurated and standing behind him, sitting behind him, were the 3 wealthiest people in the country, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg, and then sitting scattered throughout the stage, 13 other billionaires who Trump nominated to head major agencies, Secretary of Treasury, etc. You tell me what you would call it. This is, I find it hard not to describe it as a government of the billionaires, and that is what oligarchy is about.
Take it from an elected official who does care about the working people of America and has their interests in mind.
These are, the scariest times in my lifetime, that's all. I mean, I think that's objectively the truth. It is not just they want to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut programs for working people. Frankly, that's happened before. Yeah. But you combine that with the power of the oligarchy in general. So I think what Trump and Musk hope is they can create a sense of powerlessness in people. Hey, what do you think? I got all the money. I got all the power. I own the media. I can buy elections. What do you think you can do? You can't stop me. And if people believe that, we're going to lose. But if people understand that when they stand up and fight back, we can do it. We can do it. When people are mobilized and are prepared to stand up and fight back.
You heard the man. Us working people are the only ones who can truly fight back and take a stand against the scourge of fascism and oligarchy. And if we ever hope to do so, we need to organize and mobilize now.
I have my sister, she was a lesbian. I have a brother, he likes men, and, it's a hard subject because, I keep it real. I tell my brother all the time. I was like, dog, don't be coming over here with that gay. I tell my kids that too. What? I tell him that, but he's like, but he's cool. He's cool. He's cool. But he said it too.
She said, "Yep, he be saying it.
Yeah,
he be saying it."
This is, and I mean this with all my heart, gross. Here's more from MMA legend Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
But he's cool too, right? He goes, because I have two twin brothers, and we're hanging out, and he came out and said we knew he was gay to begin with. We didn't care.
Right.
We didn't care. We still love him.
You could just see it.
We still love him. We just see. We'll be hanging out and play video games. He'll be like, I'm a bad bitch. I'm like, it's like, you definitely beat me, Street Fighter 6. Come on, let's go. You ain't beat me. So we're playing, and next thing you know, we're hanging out, and he goes, guys, like, I'm still the same. I just like men. That's all I do. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We have a problem with that. But my kids, they're coming up. They're around my brother, and I just tell them, I'm like, if they're like, hey, they see the other twin who's with the woman,
right,
but they haven't seen my brother with his partner. And when that time comes, I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm like, he is an adult.
Right.
He has chosen to love a man.
Right.
There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I was like, you guys are too young to decide what. I don't want you guys being persuaded.
Wait, what? Being persuaded? What? What is he talking about?
That it's okay. I don't want to say it's okay, but I never forget. A gentleman says, let me ask you a question, Demetrius. I was like, what's up? He goes, do you think if all genders were with the same gender, what do you think would happen to the world? I was like, it would die. We won't be able to repopulate. He goes, exactly. So don't tell me that it's natural. That was his argument to me about gays and lesbian, right?
I saw Van Lathan tweet this, and as I watch it, and y'all watch it, I'll reiterate what he typed. There wasn't any maliciousness, but there was a ton of ignorance. Let's continue.
And so when my kids, when they get next to my brother and they see that, they're like, Dad, he's kissing another man. I'm like, it's okay. Like, that's what he chooses to do. But you guys are too young to make that decision. When you guys become 18, 19, 20, 21, you can do whatever you want. You're out of my house. True. But right now, you don't know what you like, right? Like, they're all dating girls right now. And my daughter, she's too young to have a boyfriend. But I'm like, enjoy. Be a kid. Have fun.
Yeah, go play video games.
Go play video games.
Go learn how to multiply.
Yeah.
Don't worry about who you like, what you like. But that's it.
You're gonna see the comments. You're like, don't bring that down here.
What? Not to mention, RG3 is kind of gross here too. Let's discuss. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you. It goes without saying I despise this. The Redditors did as well. Mighty Mouse seems like a nice guy, but what an absolute disaster of an answer. The fact that he keeps framing being gay as a choice is the biggest problem here. Yes. Yes. And that's exactly what I saw when, I hate even mentioning this, but Haas was reviewing the Sam Cedar Jubilee video, and there were a few Christian nationalists up there who claimed if they had God in their lives, they wouldn't be gay because it is a choice. I would guarantee if we had to unpack what Mighty Mouse was saying, the root of it probably comes from that, which is wrong. People are born gay. They should be allowed to be gay. We should be allowed to say the word gay in Florida. None of this stuff should matter. What should matter is how billionaires are stealing from the working class, but they want us fighting over how a person identifies, which is insane. Also, knowing he has 2 family members who are in the LGBTQ plus community and still thinks it is a choice shows how fundamentally broken he is on this subject. More from the Redditor, excuse me. On top of the fact that he acknowledges that his sons date girls, yet in the same breath will say they're still too young to determine what they're actually into. That entire room seems to have a negative IQ and isn't at all equipped to have a grown-up discussion about homosexuality. It's so gross. Mighty Mouse seems like a nice guy, but it is a disaster. I agree. I think it is gross. I think what else is pretty appalling is I have seen a few RG3 interviews, and every time there is something that comes up where you have to take a stance and it deals with social issues, he's usually on the wrong side because he wants to play centrist. And that's the problem with centrism. The fact that they think that you have to acknowledge how funny this guy is being because he says being gay is a choice and don't bring that gay blank over here, that's insane. But the reason he's doing it, I need to be very clear about this, is because he was let go by ESPN. Wrong move by ESPN. He was not a bad analyst, especially when it came to college football. When he was in the booth doing color commentary, he was great. I'm being honest. And so when they let him go, he utilized his contacts mainly, as we have seen in a few different interviews, when he had Dana White on, required or gave no pushback whatsoever and allowed Dana White to use RG3's podcast as a platform to promote his own internal strife with politics and also to just slobber knock over Trump. And RG3 and his significant other said nothing. RG3 sees opportunity by utilizing Dana White and his network to have the likes of Mighty Mouse and other MMA fighters on. I'm being very, very transparent about this. Another Redditor chimed in. That's why he doesn't want to say anything that'll get him in trouble and potentially have one MMA fighter say, yeah, don't go on RG3's podcast. He was a insert word here instead of it being healthy dialogue and pushback. But RG3 is afraid of it. He's a wuss. Another chimed in. The falling over laughing part after don't come over here with that gay stuff was so high school-esque. I agree. Like, even without considering how harmful that attitude is, it really just wasn't that funny. I would understand a little chuckle and a right or something, but why are you, an adult man, literally falling on the couch laughing at that statement? It just doesn't make sense to me. Because he's corny. Because he's corny and he's sucking up to his guests to remain in their good graces to then preserve the bag of his podcast and YouTube channel by getting better guests. That's exactly what it is. He does not want to have any pushback, so he will laugh at any terrible joke or offensive joke in order to preserve one more user right. And this is Mighty Mouse. It's also on RG3. Because much like Tom Morello said, when you have a Nazi at a table and no one calls out the Nazism, then the rest of the table is Nazis. He should have taken a stance. And I think I know where his stances are, but the fact that he had no pushback whatsoever it just shows a lot, especially as someone who's been in the media space professionally for quite a while. One more user rightfully put it. I think anytime somebody accepts the framing of sexuality as a choice, they must be somewhere on the bisexual spectrum, even if they won't admit it consciously. I don't totally agree with this. As someone who's totally open to the idea of being attracted to the same sex, I'm just not. That's okay. I just can't choose to like the same sex. That's a good point. Sorry, I railroaded. If you can accept the idea of choosing, then you must feel like you have a choice. I wish I did, but I don't. So I wouldn't be surprised if DJ is bi and just doesn't like it about himself. Why else would he so easily accept and adopt that framing? Again, I don't agree with that. I think it is about what you are taught and how you either refuse to learn or you believe that it is a sin. I mean, we could go on and on about the factors and why someone might believe that. To jump to that conclusion, I feel is a little irrational, but just to put a bow on this, Mighty Mouse, bad. RG3 and his significant other allowing this to fester, worse. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.